Indianapolis, affectionately known as Indy, is the capital and most populous city of Indiana. It's a city that's managed to blend its rich history with modern innovation, creating a unique urban landscape that's truly one of a kind. In 1820, the Indiana General Assembly decided they needed a new state capital, and they wanted it smack dab in the center of the state. In 1821, surveyors Alexander Ralston and Elias Pimfordham were tasked with designing the new city. Ralston, who had previously worked with Pierre L'Enfant on the design of Washington, D.C., came up with a plan for a 1-square-mile town. This area, nicknamed the Mile Square, was bound by North, East, South, and West streets with Governor's Circle, now Monument Circle, right in the center. The first European Americans started settling in the area around 1819 or early 1820. On January 1, 1825, Indianapolis officially became the state capital. The first session of the Indiana General Assembly in the new capital kicked off on January 10, 1825. The National Road, which later became Washington Street in downtown Indy, was routed through the city in 1827. It connected Indianapolis to the rest of the country and helped spur its growth. But the real game changer came with the railroads. The first railroad reached Indianapolis in 1847. By the time the Civil War rolled around in 1861, Indy had become a major rail hub. This was crucial for the Union's logistics during the war and really put Indianapolis on the map. Between 1860 and 1870, the population more than doubled. Thanks to its flat, fertile soil and central location, Indy quickly became an agricultural center. The White River provided power for early mills in the 1820s and 1830s. And with the railroads came manufacturing. As the city expanded, so did its government and civic organizations. In 1825, a United States District Court was created in Indianapolis. 2 years later, the state legislature appropriated $500 to construct a new facility for the Indiana Supreme Court. In today's dollars, that equates to around $14,000. Indianapolis immediately became a hub of political activity. In 1828, supporters of John Quincy Adams convened a state convention here. In 1859, Abraham Lincoln paid his first visit to the city. Speaking of Lincoln, the Civil War had a huge impact on Indianapolis. The city's strategic location and railroad connections made it a crucial logistics center for the Union. Camp Morton, a military training ground and later a prisoner-of-war camp, was established here. By the turn of the 20th century, Indianapolis was really coming into its own. In 1901, the Soldiers and Sailors Monument was completed on Monument Circle. This 284-foot-tall neoclassical limestone and bronze monument, designed by German architect Bruno Schmitz, became the symbol of the city. After the war, Indianapolis continued to grow and diversify. The late 19th and early 20th centuries saw a boom in apartment and flat construction downtown. These new housing options were particularly popular with young professionals and women entering the workforce.
This is, and always will be, the greatest spectacle in racing. This is the Indianapolis 500. And Alex Palou leads very strong into turn one. Renus VK and Felix Rosenquist with Scott Dixon going.
Now, we can't talk about Indianapolis without mentioning the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Opened in 1909, it's the home of the Indy 500, one of the most famous auto races in the world. The first Indy 500 was held in 1911, and it's been a Memorial Day weekend tradition ever since. Indianapolis continues to grow and evolve. The city became known for its strong manufacturing sector, particularly in the automotive industry. But it wasn't all work and no play. The city also developed a rich cultural scene. Take the Indianapolis Museum of Art, for example. Founded in 1883, it's now one of the largest encyclopedic art museums in the United States. Or how about the Children's Museum of Indianapolis? Opened in 1925, it's now the largest children's museum in the world. From the city's founding in 1821 to its current status as a thriving metropolis, Indianapolis has come a long way from its humble beginnings as a planned capital in the wilderness. Its weathered economic ups and downs, played a crucial role in major historical events, and continually reinvented itself to stay relevant in changing times. But we still have one more stop to make. The Sidmar, built in 1887, is a three-story, triangular, Italianate-style building that stands proudly in downtown Indianapolis. Its unique shape and architectural style make it a standout among the city's historic structures. It's located in the heart of downtown Indianapolis, an area roughly bounded by Interstate 65 and Fall Creek on the north, Interstate 65 and Interstate 70 on the east, Interstate 70 on the south, and Harding Street on the west. To truly appreciate the Sidmar, we need to understand the era in which it was built. The late 19th century was a time of tremendous growth for Indianapolis. This growth created a pressing need for housing, especially in the downtown area. Indianapolis was experiencing a boom in industrial development, led by the railroad and automobile industries, as well as companies like Eli Lilly. This economic growth attracted people from rural areas who were seeking educational, financial, and social advancement. And this is where the Sidmar comes in. Built in 1887, it's actually the oldest structure in a group of downtown apartments and flats that were constructed between 1887 and 1929. These buildings were a response to the city's rapid growth and changing housing needs. The Sidmar and buildings like it offered an affordable alternative for people moving to the city before marrying or having children. They were particularly attractive to single women entering the workforce, especially during World War I. Now, let's talk about the building itself. The Sidmar, like all the apartments built in downtown Indianapolis after 1904, is constructed of brick. This wasn't just an aesthetic choice. In 1904, the Indianapolis City Council passed an ordinance outlawing frame buildings within the downtown area. You'll also notice the use of Indiana limestone for lintels, sills, and decorative details, a common feature in these buildings. The Sidmar's triangular shape is particularly interesting. It likely reflects the original platting of the land, done in 1821. The square blocks formed by the intersection of major streets were divided by narrow alleys in a cross pattern, resulting in long lots with narrow street frontages. The Sidmar is part of what's known as the Indianapolis Wholesale District, which contains the largest concentration of 19th-century commercial buildings in the city. This district is a testament to the city's commercial growth, with many buildings transitioning from residential to commercial use in the 1860s. Thanks for joining me on this journey through time and architecture. Until next time, keep exploring the hidden histories in your own cities and towns. You never know what stories you might uncover.